Our test speaker this morning, Renee Hawk. Water ski life lessons. Water ski life lessons. Please help me welcome Renee Hawk.
When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, have you ever decided to learn something new and in the process realize that you learned about life? When I think about my years of water skiing, I realize that's actually what has happened to me. I'd like to share with you 3 stories, and from those 3 stories, 4 lessons that I learned about life. My family started water skiing when I was about 9. First, my dad taught my brother, my older brother Greg, and then he taught me. He gave me all the instructions within the boat, and just as a last reminder, he said, "Now, Renee, remember, when you say go, the boat is going to pull the rope hard. Hold on and stand up." "Okay, Dad." Back behind the boat, I'm stabilizing my skis as best I can, and I think I'm ready. So I say it. Go! The boat pulls hard on the rope. My feet flip back behind me. My skis blow off, and I hold on. I hold on while the water flows over my head. I hold on. Well, finally, I did let go. I learned to water ski, but on that day, I learned to pay attention to all of the instructions. Hold on and stand up. So I did stand up eventually. I skied on 2 skis and eventually 1 ski. And my dad and my brother loved to water ski. I thought it was all right, but they really loved it, and I couldn't understand why until one day. One day, the sky was clear, and the air was warm, and the water was smooth. And I was behind the boat, skiing, thinking about Greg, my older brother, and how he skis, more like a slalom ski. And then it happened. I fell into a rhythm, and I was turning and swaying, crossing over both wakes and then back again. Suddenly, I loved water skiing. I finally figured out why they loved water skiing. It was that rhythm. On that day, I learned, when learning something new, stick with it. You might find out you actually like it. Well, I liked it so much, I must have motivated my friend Bill, who wanted to learn to ski. Bill came along with us. We gave him all the instructions, and he was amazing. The first time out on 2 skis, he popped right up. We were impressed. He was crossing over the wakes and turning on his first time. Then he signaled for us to turn and stop. So we circled back around to pick him up, and he floated his water ski to the boat and said, "I'm going to try single skiing." Okay, he did so well, fine. Again, amazingly, he popped right up, no problem. Of course, he didn't get dragged like I did. And then he was skiing and he was turning and swaying. He was doing great. And then he signaled for us to turn. And then he signaled more vigorously. And then he threw the rope up. And as I turned around to tell Dad, who was driving the boat, that Bill was down, I saw the shore coming. It wasn't water ahead of the boat anymore. Boom, boom, boom. We landed on the shore 30 feet from the water's edge. Wow, that's never happened before. Well, I look around, silent. Everybody's okay. I don't know what to do. And then Dad burst into laughter. Now we could all laugh. Well, with some ingenuity and some logs, we got the boat back into the water, not before Bill walked ashore. On that day, I learned my third and fourth lessons. Third, watch where you're going. And fourth, when things go awry, and once you've made sure everyone's okay, be able to laugh about it. Water skiing's been a great experience for me in my life. I learned those life lessons at the same time. I learned pay attention to all of the instructions. Hold on and stand up. Second, what? Stick with it. You might find out you actually like it. Third, watch where you're going. And fourth, when things go awry, and once you've made sure everyone's okay, be able to laugh about it. I think I was pretty open-minded. Yes, I learned water skiing, but I learned some other things too. I think I was the ready student. I'd like to encourage you to be open-minded. Be the ready student, because when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Contestant number 4, Rajiv Prabhakar. Rajiv Prabhakar, contestant number 4.
I was, thanks. Renee, I've never gone water skiing in my life. After hearing your speech, a part of me really wants to go, but another part of me is really afraid of getting a boat driver who's anything like your dad. Renee, hearing your speech is very clear to me that you have all the basics and all the fundamentals down, and I really like the speech. Let me break it down. Here are some things that I really enjoyed about it. I believe that the most important thing in any speech is the opening, and I feel like you had a very good opening. You came up here looking very poised. You spent a few seconds just looking around the room, and then you said very mysteriously, when a student is ready, the teacher will appear. And this to me was a very good opening because you really drew in the whole audience's attention immediately, and that really set you up for the rest of the speech. You then went on to talk about what you'll be talking about the entire speech. You talked about how one of your great hobbies is water skiing, and how this taught you 4 of your most important life lessons. So this put us in the right frame of mind to think about what exactly you're going to be talking about in the different parts of your speech. And like I said earlier, this was a very good hook. It led us into the speech very well. The second most important thing in the speech to me is the ending, and I felt like it had a really good ending as well. You summarized all the 4 life lessons that were the central elements in your speech. You also made a nervous mistake. You forgot what the second lesson was going to be. But at the same time, you did not look too flustered about it. You did not get too nervous. You did not start sputtering. You just took a few seconds to calmly recollect your thoughts. You remember what it was, and then you went on as if nothing ever happened. We all make mistakes, but you showed that you were very good at recovering from these mistakes, which I was very impressed with. You also ended the speech very well by repeating the very first line. You started off by saying when a student is ready, the teacher will appear. And throughout the speech, you did not repeat that line again, but at the very end, you ended the speech with that note. And to me, that was a very good way to end the speech. It left us reminding us of the opening, and I really enjoyed it. Some of the other things that I really liked about the speech. You had some pretty good body language, You were talking about how you were leaning, you were holding on, you leaned forward and you did so. You talked about how your skis went off your feet, and you acted as though your skis were literally flying off your feet. That was good. You also had some good vocal variety throughout your speech. Like you talked about, I finally figured out why my parents, my dad and my brother love water skiing. You also talked about how you better watch where you're going. I like those instances of vocal variety. There are a few things that I would suggest that you improve on. Like I mentioned earlier, you have all the basics and the fundamentals down, so I'm going to give you some advanced recommendations. I would say that your tone of speaking is a little bit slower than most people's. And for a basic speaker, that's fine. But as an advanced speaker, it makes it a little bit harder to hold the audience's attention because people get a tendency to get bored and maybe they'll stop listening to you. So there's nothing wrong with that. But my recommendations are twofold. Number one, try to slightly quicken the pace of your speech. And secondly, have a lot more vocal variety. You show that you know how to use vocal variety and you use it in a few places very well. I would say try to intersperse it throughout the speech, like every other sentence. But overall, you're a really good speaker, and I really enjoyed hearing your speech. Thank you.